Hi there, I'm Kim Coco. Today's 60-minute gentle yoga class is going to be aimed at the stomach meridian in Chinese medicine. Now, the stomach works with the spleen to aid in digestion and absorption. And the focus of our practice is going to be around transformation. So as we go through these poses, you might want to think about an intention in an area in which you might want some cleansing, an area in which case you might wish for some transformation or desire some transformation, whether that's in the body or that's in a relationship or any other area of your life. So get started on your back today. If you have a block, you may or may not need it, and you might want a strap. But again, it's not going to be mandatory. We're not going to focus specific poses around these props, but you might want to have them just in case certain areas of your body are hard to reach or the floor feels far away. So you can set those off to the side and find your way into Shavasana. So we'll start off nice and easy, letting the legs rest out a little wider than hip distance apart, arms out by the side, palms up. You might even roll the shoulder blades back and down so that you can feel the heart broaden. And then from there, go ahead and close your eyes. Begin to tune in to that natural rhythm of your breath. And take a moment to scan your body. Notice the sensations at the soles of your feet, all the way up your legs, the torso, the arms, the head, just to get a gross view, a larger perspective of how your body feels in this moment. So as we start to work with the stomach meridian today, there are times when this element is in balance. And we know that to be true because we experience a sense of compassion for others, and there's a natural ability to have a concentrated approach to tasks at hand. There are also times in our life where we have an excess of this stomach meridian, or there's an imbalance, and that's when we feel more worried, need to take compulsive action and to make things happen right away. And there can be times where we feel a deficiency, where we might be distracted, or we might need some extra validation from others. So our goal is to find that sense of balance so we can take compassion and focus as we transform our bodies and our minds through this practice. So begin to lengthen your breath in and exhale back out through the nose. And begin to find a rhythm of breath where the length of the inhale matches the length of the exhale. All the while keeping the tongue relaxed at the bottom of your mouth, the lower jaw lightly unhinged. And the effortlessness of gravity melting your body downward into your mat. And then as that rhythm of breath becomes more effortless, we're going to use your mind's eye to trace the stomach meridian. So start by tuning into sensations underneath your eyes. Notice any sensations you feel around the eye socket. Maybe even feel a sense of heaviness behind your closed eyelids. And then take your attention to your nose. Be aware of the tip of your nose in space. And notice sensations around the rim of each nostril as you breathe in and out through the nose. Maybe even feel sensations up in your nose. Continue downward to your mouth, noticing the space around your lips. Even feel the edges of your mouth lightly curl up into a subtle smile. Again, as the jaw is soft and the tongue is relaxed in your mouth. Notice the natural protrusion of your cheekbones, as though you could feel your skin literally rolling over the bones of your face on the cheeks. And then moving down the jaw from the ears, down the jawline to the tip of your chin. And then become aware of all four sides of your neck. The front, where the throat is often more accentuated, but also the sides of the neck and the back of the neck. Can you let go of any tension? And even as you lie flat on your back, can you begin to take your attention to the sternum, the breastbone that goes right down in front of the heart? And then can you feel the sternum naturally rise and fall with your breath? Notice the expansion across the chest, as though you could feel the skin of your chest touch the material of your shirt, or become aware of the temperature of the room. Sending that awareness down to the belly, noticing the space below the rib cage, and the softness of the abdomen. And begin to notice the heaviness of the hips. And as gravity pulls the pelvis down towards the floor, with your legs hip distance apart or a little bit wider, can you feel sensations, without necessarily moving, around the area of your groin, around the hip crease, the front of the body? Again, maybe that sensation arises in conjunction with the material that's touching your legs or your hips or your pelvis. Maybe it's a sensation of spaciousness, or it's a temperature. It's a heat or a coolness. And then again, take that focus all the way down your legs, ending at the second toe on each foot. And instead of focusing on all of your toes, can you just focus on the tip of your second toes? The ones right next to your big toe. Keeping your eyes lightly closed. Notice what comes to mind first when you think of transformation in your life. Where do you most want that to occur? And dedicate your practice to that. Building the openness and the strength and the flexibility with which you can approach the decisions to make during your transformation. And then when you're ready, stretch your arms up overhead, reach towards the wall behind you, stretch your legs out long, and then go ahead and hug your knees in towards your chest. Go ahead and rock a little side to side, massage out the spine. And then go ahead and place the soles of the feet on the floor like you would for bridge pose. So feet about hip distance apart, arms still down at your side. Go ahead and lightly open your eyes and look up at the ceiling. So you can find a point on the wall. And then imagine that point as the center of a clock. And then we're going to take the eyes and point them up overhead as though that would be 12 o'clock. And then we're going to follow a circle as if you were watching a clock on the ceiling with your eyes, making nice big circles clockwise. Nice slow motion, seeing how much of the room you can take in just as a result of moving your eyes. Notice if your body is tensing at all to try to help. The next time you come back to 12 o'clock, switch the direction of your circle, starting to move your eyes counterclockwise. And notice if your circle feels even, if you're still going as big as you possibly can without adding more tension to the body. Again, allowing your eyes to go back up to 12 o'clock and then back to the center of your circle. Go ahead and take your hands, rub them together, create some friction and some heat, and then take the palms of your hands and place them over your eyes. Notice the heaviness of your hands as they rest over the eye socket. And then as you remove your hands, keep your gaze soft as though you could take in everything in your periphery as well. And then go ahead and just lightly go ahead and turn your neck to the left. Turn your head, look over your left shoulder. And then take your head back to center and turn your head to the right. Again, bring your head back to neutral. Go ahead and hug your knees back in towards your chest. Rock and roll a little side to side. Push yourself up to a seat or rock yourself up to seat. And then we're going to go ahead and come to hands and knees. So you might want to spread the fingers wide. Once you get there, you can always fold the mat over if you need a little extra cushioning underneath your knees. Otherwise, spread the fingers wide. Start to press the floor away, knees underneath the hips. And then as you inhale, go ahead and tilt the pelvis back, sitting bones up, melt the heart down, squeeze the shoulder blades together and look up. As you exhale, start to tuck the tailbone under, round the middle back and the upper back, and then finally the chin. But keep pressing the floor away. Nice, strong, straight arms. Use your inhale. Take your gentle back bend into a nice cow pose. Shoulders down away from the ears. Exhaling, tucking and rounding the spine. So go with your breath, inhaling through this cat-cow sequence, starting with the base of your tailbone first, working your way all the way up to the crown of the head, using your entire breath as you move. Go ahead and take one more round. Finish with your exhale as you press the floor away. And then come back to a neutral spine. We're going to go ahead and thread the needle. So walk your hands 2 inches out in front of where they were. Take your left arm, reach it up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, weave that left arm behind the right wrist. Come down onto the outer edge of that left shoulder. And again, if the floor feels really far away, you can rest your shoulder on the block, or you can use the block underneath your head if that feels more comfortable as well. But notice the right hip moving back in space. You can press the floor away with your right arm. You can take and put your right fingertips to the floor, or you might stretch that right arm up towards the ceiling. So find a place that feels comfortable for you. So as we start to work the head and neck turning, the heaviness of the head starting to move around the area of the chest. See if you can come back to that rhythm of breath where your inhales match your exhales. As you inhale, stretch that left arm up to where you started. Exhale, replace your hands back underneath the shoulders. Walk them out 2 inches again. Stretch that right arm up on your inhale. Weave the right arm behind your left wrist. Again, moving the left hip back in space. Left hand can stay on the floor. You can go to left fingertips, or you can reach that left arm up. But notice here the head, the jaw, shoulders relaxed. Prop yourself up where you need to. But imagine unwrinkling both sides of your torso as if the shirt and the material is going to stretch long as your hips move back in space. See if you can soften your gaze. So if you're looking at an object, find the space between you and that object and stare into it. Or you can lightly close your eyes and turn your attention completely inward. On your next inhale, slowly unwind. Stretch that right arm back up towards the ceiling. Exhale, come back to hands and knees. Go ahead and take one more round of cat-cow, neutralizing the spine. Again, we'll take one more inhale actually. And then you can tuck and round on your exhale. You can tuck the toes under, start to lift the hips, and you can press to a downward facing dog if that's part of your practice. Or you can drop the hips back onto the heels, stretching the arms out long for child's pose. Now, child's pose is going to be your option if at any time during the practice you get tired. If you are in down dog, drop your knees back to the floor. And then we'll all take the hands and walk them back towards the knees. And we're going to go ahead and make your way up to stand. We're going to go ahead and grab your strap if you know you cannot clasp the hands behind you. Excuse me. All right, so we're going to go ahead and stand tall. Press the feet into the floor. Lift the quadriceps off the kneecaps. Feel your tailbone point right down towards the floor. And then broaden across the collarbone and actually take a few shoulder circles to start to loosen up any tension you might be experiencing around the traps, the shoulders, the jaw. You might even get a snap, crackle, pop or two in the spine and the shoulders. Make sure you switch directions. You can go together with the shoulders, or you can go in opposite, one at a time, whatever feels better. And then as you come back and allow the shoulders to rest back down, we're going to go ahead and take the arms out to the side, and this is where your strap might come in handy. We're going to go ahead and reach back behind you. You can interlace the hands behind the back and let the knuckles rest at the base of your tailbone. You can reach for opposite elbows. That might feel good as well. Or you can take the strap with your thumbs pointed out and your palms pointing forward. Wherever you are, squeeze the elbows back and in towards one another, which might create a little bit of slack on your strap, in which case you can walk the arms in. But feel the elbows move in, feel the sternum lift, the heart's actually going to lift, and the rib cage might jut forward, so draw the floating ribs in, feel the tailbone still pointing towards the floor, and then maybe reach the arms up and back. So whether that's moving the forearms away from your low back, moving the arms away from your low back, with the strap or without the strap, keep your chin parallel to the floor, and the crown of your head reaching upward as you stretch up from the base of your feet all the way up through the crown of your head. Again, finding that rhythm of breath that's going to sustain you. Breathe into the sides of your ribs for 2 more rounds. As you exhale, slowly release your hands back to your sides. Unclench your hands, undo your grip. Go ahead and move the arms and the wrists around in some circles. Maybe even make a fist and spread the fingers out. Maybe even shake them out. And then let's just sway the arms a little side to side. You might even take a little bit of a twist with your torso, just creating a little bit of movement and freedom across the shoulders. You can go fast or slow, depending on how you feel today. Every day is different. Every moment is different. Next time you come back to this practice, you'll be different. So see how you feel. Then let your arms rest. Shoulders down away from the ears. This time we're going to go ahead and take your right arm. We're going to internally rotate it so the thumb and the back of the palm face towards the back of the room. And then take your hand to your low back. You can always walk the hand up your back a little bit more if you want a greater intensity, but make sure there's no tension. We're just creating a stretch across the back of the shoulder as you internally rotate. And then we're going to take a shoulder stretch. So go ahead and, a neck stretch. Go ahead and take your left ear towards your left shoulder. So you're lengthening everything on the whole right side. And then notice here, if your chin's pointing more down towards the left shoulder, the stretch is going to be a little bit different. Or you might take the chin and start to point it more toward the ceiling or towards the opposite shoulder. And you might move back and forth a little bit until you find a point that feels sticky or it feels really good in that spot. So find that and then stay. Feel both sides of your torso tall and still feel the soles of your feet pressing down into the floor. Feel your rib cage drawing in so that everything is just lightly engaged, even though the head and neck is relaxing. As you inhale, slowly bring your head back to neutral. Release your right arm. Go ahead and take your left arm out to the side. Internally rotate it so the thumb points down and the palm faces back. Take the arm to your low back or work your way up higher if that feels good. And then drop the right ear towards the right shoulder. Notice here the tendency to lean over to one side. Keep the torso neutral and let the head and neck drop. And can you send your breath to the back side of the body? Can you still feel the torso moving lightly into the back of your hand? And again, you can move the chin around to find a place that feels best for the stretch. Eyes open or closed. If they're open, see if you can soften your gaze and notice what's in your periphery. Keeping the jaw soft and the breath even. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. Go ahead and release when you're done. Bring your head back to neutral. And then imagine you have a pen on the top of your head that's going to point literally at the top of the ceiling. And then imagine that as the center of your circle. And keep the jaw soft and the head fairly neutral and the neck neutral. And just move the head in small circles around that center point. So just unwinding some of the deeper muscles of the throat that often hold tension without us knowing it. They try to help out. Go ahead and switch directions. Again, fast or slow, but being mindful every step of the way, imagining the circle being as even as possible. And then go ahead and coming back to neutral with the head and neck. Let's go ahead and take the opposite clasp. So if you had your left finger on top, it's going to be the right forefinger on top. If you've reached for opposite elbows, the opposite forearm goes on top. If you have your strap, you're going to go about the same distance because there's nothing opposite there. So you're just going to repeat the round 2. Otherwise, find your opposite grip. Squeeze the elbows back and together. Feel the rib cage draw in towards the spine. And then slowly start to reach the arms up and back away from the body, whether you have a strap or you're taking a clasp. Feel the collarbone broaden, feel the spine tall, feel your chin parallel to the floor as you open up the front of the sternum. And then as you exhale, slowly release. We're going to go ahead and come through a standing sequence to start to build some heat in the groin and the torso, moving with some strength as we start to build some heat. So let's go ahead and take a nice wide-legged stance facing the long edge of your mat. Turn your toes out and then bend your knees lightly. So the goal here is we're taking a horse stance, and it can go as deep as you want to build more heat, or you can go as little as you want to keep it comfortable for your body. In any case, feel the tailbone pointing towards the floor and make sure your knees point out over your second toe. So now we're going to turn the right toes towards the back of your mat. We're going to pivot onto the ball of the left foot, coming more towards a crescent lunge shape facing the back of your mat. Maybe reach the arms up towards the ceiling, or if you can feel comfortable, take a cactus goalpost shape with your arms and squeeze the elbows back. Now, bring weight onto your front foot. Start to walk your left foot in, and maybe come onto the ball of the left foot. Maybe start to lift the left knee off the floor. Maybe hover here. Working on balance. Exhale, release your hands. Lower your left leg if it's up. Step back to your nice wide-legged stance. Toes point out, 10 and 2. Again, knees over the toes, or point over the toes. Working on core strength here and a little bit of balance. Turn the left toes towards the back of your mat. Pivot onto the ball of the right foot. Point your hips towards the front of your mat. Reach the arms up. And again, the back heel can be off the floor, or you can drop it to the floor if you want some added support. Stay here or take goalpost arms. Squeeze the forearms back and together. Bring weight onto your left foot. Start to walk the right foot in. Maybe stay on the ball of the right foot. Maybe hover it a little. Maybe hug that left hip in as you lift the right knee off the floor. As you exhale, lower your arms, lower your legs, step back to the wide stance of your mat. Starting to build a little heat. Sink down. Take a breath in and out. Turn your right toes back of the mat. Pivot to face the back of your mat. Crescent lunge. Reach the arms up, starting to move with your breath. As you exhale, stay here or take your goalpost arms. Feel your right hip draw in. Press the right foot into the floor. Slowly start to walk the left foot in, coming to the ball mount of the left foot or lifting the left leg. Squeeze the elbows back and together, broadening across the sternum. Exhale, lower the arms, lower the legs, step the left foot wide, back of the mat. Or facing that side edge of your mat, tuck the tailbone, stand tall. Maybe even lift your toes and lift the inner arches of your feet as you press the knees out. Turn the left toes to the back of your mat. Pivot, come to the ball of the right foot. Walk the left foot out to the side if you need to. Reach the arms up. Feel the rib cage still draw in. Maybe stay there. Take your goalpost arms. Squeeze them back and together. Weight comes onto your left foot. Maybe step the right foot forward. Balancing on the ball mount of the right foot or lifting the right knee in the air. But hug the left hip in. Press the floor away with your standing leg. As you exhale, slowly release the arms. Step the right foot back. We're going to go through one more time. Nice wide-legged stance. Sink the hips. Feel your groin open. Breathe into that space. Use your core strength to move. So when you're ready, right toes back of the mat. Pivot to the ball of the left foot. Crescent lunge. Reach the arms up. Elbows either come down at a 90-degree angle or stay reaching up towards the ceiling. Stand on the right foot. Left ball of the foot comes to the floor, or lift the left leg. Hug the right hip in. Stand tall. Squeeze the elbows back. As you exhale, release the arms. Release the legs. Step wide once again. Bend knees. Toes point out, opening up the groin. Smile. Have a little bit of fun with it. Turn the back toes towards the front of your mat. Left toes, right ball of the foot, all facing in the same direction, hopefully, as you face the front of your mat. As you exhale, hands to goalpost arms or stay the same, reaching up. Feel your balance. Feel the strength on the left foot as you start to step the right foot in. Maybe hover on the ball of the right foot. Maybe lift the right foot or bend the knee and hug it in towards the chest. Take another breath. As you inhale, slowly come back. Wide-legged stance. One more breath. Soften the shoulders, soften the jaw. When you're ready, press to stand. Turn the toes in for Prasarita Padottanasana. Hands can stay at the hips. Squeeze the elbows back and together. Lift the heart. You can stay right here, taking a gentle back bend upright. You can bend the knees slightly to alleviate tension on the hamstrings. And you can start to fold forward. You can come about halfway forward. You can take your hands to your thighs for some additional support as you round. Or you can keep the legs straight and start to hinge and fold forward, maybe reaching for opposite elbows. But let the head and neck relax wherever you are. Find what's going to feel good. Let the head and neck go. You can rest your elbows on your legs if that feels comfortable too.
But see if you can feel the outer edges of your feet press into the floor. Feel the inner arches of your feet lift. And then feel length from your heart away from your belly button, and the belly button away from the pelvis, letting the head and neck drop. Maybe even lightly shake the head no, or lightly shake the head yes, and make sure you're not harboring any additional tension there. And then bend the knees generously, slowly begin to roll up, one vertebrae at a time. Maybe sweep the arms all the way up overhead once you get there. Exhaling, hands to the heart. Release the hands, walk or jump the feet back together. And then this time make sure your feet are about hip distance apart. Stand your weight on your right foot first, come to the ball mount of the left foot. Keep the ball mount glued to the floor and start to make some circles with your ankle or the heel in the air. And again, it's not going to be as big of a movement because the ball mount of that foot is glued to the floor. Go ahead and switch directions. And notice if you're sagging in that right hip. Really draw that right hip and that standing leg in for support. And then go ahead and shake out the ankle if you can. Maybe both ankles. And then go to stand back on the left leg, come to the ball mount of the right foot, and then make some ankle circles with the right heel. You notice there might be some noises that get associated with this movement. Switch directions, but keep hugging that left hip into the socket. And then again, shake it out. All right, so we'll do one more side stretch standing so that as we come to the floor, we'll have a little bit more warm up. So let's go ahead and inhale, reach both arms up towards the ceiling. Go ahead and relax the shoulders away from the ears. Take your right arm and reach for your left wrist, and then press the floor away with that left foot and reach up and over to your right. So I'd be mirroring you. So essentially it's reaching up over to the right, squeeze the elbows in towards each other. Press the floor away, lift the inner arches of your feet, but soften your toes. And then move your throat back in space. So you lift the chin slightly. Inhale, come back to center, switch the grip. Left hand, right wrist. Slowly pull up and over to your left. And again, imagine squeezing the elbows towards your ears. Feel that right foot press more firmly into the floor, and maybe move the hips a little bit more to the right as you get a little bit deeper of a stretch in that whole right side body. Open up the throat, move your head back between your arms. Maybe even move your arms a little bit back in space. As you take another 2 rounds of breath here. As you inhale, come back to center. Slowly release your arms back down. Shake out the shoulders one more time. And then go ahead and grab a seat. Now we're going to take a Janu Shirshasana variation with a little bit of a side bend. So actually, let's go ahead and take a variation to open up the heart first. So let's take the shins parallel, the knees parallel, about hip distance apart, and go ahead and hold on to your shins. So you actually rock the sitting bones forward to lift the heart. So from the side, we have a nice comfortable foundation. So we're going to take a cat-cow in a seated position. We already did this today. Inhale, lift the heart, squeeze the shoulder blades back, maybe lift the chin. As you exhale, tuck and round the spine, press your low back and your middle back towards the wall behind you, and tuck the chin. Inhaling, rock the pelvis forward, sit tall, squeeze the shoulder blades back, lift the heart. As you exhale, tuck and round. You can actually use the arms to help pull the torso forward, elbows right in by the side. Exhaling, tucking and rounding. So one more round. You might notice a little bit of space created between each vertebrae. Sitting tall once again. This time go ahead and keep the right knee. We're going to bend the right heel in towards your hip, in towards the groin, and then we'll take the left leg out to the side. So now if the floor feels really far away, or if from this right knee, you can prop it up with a block. And if you feel really uncomfortable, you can place a blanket underneath your sitting bones as well. We're going to go ahead and inhale. Sit tall. Go ahead and twist over to the right. So you'll take your right hand behind you and the left arm in front of you. And you can sit here and turn and twist. Imagine the belly button turning towards your right knee. Imagine the heart turning over towards the right knee, and then press the floor away with the left hand and draw the right shoulder blade more on your back. You can stay here. If you want to go a little bit further, you can take that left hand to the inside of the left leg, reach that right arm up, and maybe start to stretch up and over to your left. Again, the block might be a really nice option here if the floor feels far away. You can rest your arm on the block or rest your forearm on the block as you reach up and over. But notice that right sitting bone pressing down towards the floor. We're creating length in the whole right side body. So it's not as far. It's not about how far you go. That's not the goal here. We're really focusing on opening up the whole space in the lungs, the side body. Turn the palm on that right hand towards the floor. Soften the right shoulder down away from the ear. Take another round of breath. As you inhale, come back up to center. Release the arm. Go ahead and take both knees to a bent position, soles of the feet on the floor, and then you can go ahead and slowly tuck and round the spine. If you have a more flexible approach to your practice, you can keep both legs straight and take an Upavishta Konasana, slowly lengthening the spine and walking your torso out forward. But the bent knee option is a really nice choice, especially if you have tight hamstrings. You can always find something a little bit in between where the feet are further away from you. But notice the spine. Notice the difference right to left in your back. And then notice the shoulder blades still moving down away from the ears, but the head and neck totally relaxed. Noticing the transformation that's already taking place in your body as a result of your practice. And where you might invite a sense of compassion in for yourself as you start to courageously approach some potentially difficult postures for yourself. As you inhale, make your way back up to a tall spine. Extend the right leg out to the side. Draw the left heel in towards the groin. Again, if the left knee does not rest on the ground, place a block or a bolster or a pillow, something underneath it. Take the right hand in front of you, the left hand behind you. Sit tall and lengthen the spine. So if you can even rock your pelvis slightly forward. So notice here there might be a weight difference or a pressure difference from the right to left sitting bone. Imagine them equal on the floor. Press the floor away with the right hand. Turn your belly button to the left. Turn your heart towards the left and then draw the left shoulder blade more towards the spine to help twist your upper back to the left. Sitting taller here. You can stay right here if you want, or you can slowly walk the right hand out towards the right leg, reach the left arm up, turn the palm over to the right, soften the left shoulder blade down your back, and maybe stretch up and over to the right. So grounding the left sitting bone, grounding the left knee down. Again, support that right arm, that right hand, however you need to. But notice the torso still turning towards the left as you reach up and over to the right. Maybe even let the right ear drop towards the right shoulder if that feels okay on your neck, but soften the left shoulder down away from the ear. Maybe move your head back in space to open the throat, but still feel the pelvis and your sitting bones evenly onto the floor if possible. 2 more rounds of breath on this side. Maybe you can even slow down the breath as it comes into the body. Use your next inhale to come back to center. Use your strength to come up. Again, you can extend both legs out to a wide V position for Upavishta Konasana. If you're going to take a forward fold, make sure you lengthen the spine first, or bend the knees, sit tall here as well, and then start to draw the torso forward, maybe letting the torso round as you let the head and neck drop, neutralizing the spine with a forward fold. Allowing the forward fold position in and of itself to turn your attention more inward. Checking out the inner landscape of the body and the mind in this moment.
Use your next inhale to slowly bring yourself up, one vertebra at a time. You can take your hands behind you and slowly start to take a windshield wiper position with the knees, or the feet, wider than hip distance apart, probably mat distance apart. You can drop the knees side to side. And then go ahead and make your way onto your back once again. You can take the block if it's handy, or books if they're handy, whatever you're going to use. Let's go ahead and come onto your back with the feet back in bridge pose. And then we're going to start by hugging the right knee in towards the chest. If you're more flexible, you can extend the left leg long along the floor, but it's not mandatory. Maybe check in again with some ankle circles on that right foot. And then maybe take the right knee and make some circles in space to open up the hip again. And you can hold on to that right knee, or you can let go. You might even start to extend the right leg long as part of your circular movement. Maybe switch directions. But allow the upper body to begin to feel like it's in Shavasana, totally relaxed. And then go ahead and hug the right knee in towards your chest. Maybe rebend the left knee to shift your hips over to the right, and then extend your left leg long. And we're actually going to roll all the way over onto your left side. And then this is where you might want your block again, or some support to place underneath your right knee. And then take your right arm over your left, and we're going to take it about a foot off the floor, and we're going to squeeze the right shoulder blade towards the spine. So you can notice if you reach forward, the right hand can go past the left. When you retract the shoulder blade and draw it towards the spine, it moves back behind the left arm. And then we're going to stretch that right arm up and over, taking a gentle spinal twist. And the block is really nice because it can allow your leg to rest, and then possibly bring your right shoulder closer to the floor. So find what's going to work for you. Your arms can go out at a T position. You can take the left hand to your right knee. But if you're going to hold on there, make sure you're not gripping excessively. The fingers can rest. The left shoulder can still rest. And then feel gravity pulling the whole right shoulder towards the floor. Let go of the rhythm of your breath and observe how it's coming in and out of your body as a result of your practice. And again, that could be tuning into the subtle sensations around the nostrils. It could be feeling the sensations around the rib cage, at the heart. It might be feeling the breath down in the lower abdomen as it softens. And your head can look to the left, or it can look straight up towards the ceiling. You can always tilt a little over to the right if that feels good too. Can you soften here for a few more moments? On your next inhale, slowly begin to unwind. Reset your spine so it's more neutral on your mat. Feet will start bent like you would for bridge pose. Go ahead and hug the left knee in towards your chest. Make a couple ankle circles. Again, you might extend the right leg long if that feels comfortable. Make sure you switch the direction of your ankle circles. And then slowly begin to make some circles with the left knee in space. You can hold on to the left leg if that feels good, or you can let go and make these circles as big as you'd like.
Just make sure you switch directions and imagine keeping that right hip glued down to the floor. You might slow down if you feel a sticky spot. Again, taking that left knee back in towards your chest. Maybe rebend the right knee to lift and shift your hips 2 inches to the left before we drop over to the right side. Bring the left knee across the body. Again, support that knee as you need to. Roll entirely onto the the right side of your body. Take that left arm, press it away from you, and then retract the left shoulder blade towards the spine. And then use that strength of the shoulder blade to slowly start to open you up into your spinal twist. Again, you can hold on to the left leg with the right arm. You can support that left leg as you need to with your block or a pillow or bolster. And then find a comfortable place for your head and neck as you let go of the rhythm of your breath and use this gentle spinal twist as a gateway to your Shavasana. Knowing that transformation is possible when we allow a state of ease, when we allow a sense of rest, when we release the need to control or resist or force any changes. Soften somewhere for 3 more rounds of breath. When you feel balanced on that second side, go ahead and make your way back to a neutral spine. Maybe hug the knees in towards your chest again. Maybe rock a little side to side. Maybe take the knees out towards your armpits. Maybe reach the soles of the feet towards the ceiling and take a happy baby pose. Again, you can rock a little side to side. You can move your knees around in circles. You might take your legs out into a V shape if that feels good too. Again, just this final check-in with a little bit of movement of the body. And then go ahead and make your way back to Shavasana, the place we started with today. Allowing your arms to rest down by your side. Go ahead and shake out the legs. Let them flop in and out. And then find a comfortable place where your feet naturally point out to the sides. Feel a sense of heaviness along the backs of the legs, up the spine, across the back of the shoulder blades as they make contact with the floor, and even across the back of your arm bones. I'll take one of my favorite pranayamas, as I've been doing this a lot lately, for an increased sense of calm and ease, but also a sense of energy, because transformation does require a little bit more energy. You know, starting something new or making changes is a little bit more effort at first until we can maintain that new level of being, whatever that is, whether we're training for an event, whether we're starting a new habit. New energy is often required, and more energy to make that habit sustainable. So take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale it back out. As you inhale, split the breath into 3 parts. So inhale a third of your breath and pause. Inhale the next third of your breath and pause. Inhale the top third of your breath and pause. Exhale out through the nose or the mouth. Inhaling a third. Pause. Second third. Pause. Top third. Pause. Exhale all the way out. Inhaling a third. Pause. Second third. Pause. Top third all the way up underneath the collarbones. Pause. Exhale the breath back out. So take a few more rounds of that breath, this Viloma split part breathing. To allow a sense of clarity and ease to infiltrate the transformations you're making. And then go back to an effortless, natural rhythm of breath. Become an observer once again, allowing your mind to become aware of the breath coming in and out of the body. To become aware of sensations in the body. Even to become aware of that silence between each thought and the space between each breath. Begin to deepen the rhythm of your breath. Rubbing your thumbs across your fingertips,
Lightly wiggling your toes. Maybe take a long stretch as though you're waking up all over again. Taking the knees in towards your chest once again before you roll over to one side. Pausing there in the fetal position, feeling supported by the ground beneath you. And then making your way to a seat with your eyes closed, bringing the hands together at the heart in Anjali Mudra. So as you lightly bow your gaze, honor your courage in making changes, recognizing you're not the same person right in this moment as when you stepped on your mat. And then taking with you this sense of compassion and improved focus and concentration with you throughout the rest of your day. Thanks for sharing your practice with me. Namaste.